Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. Um, Blood Bowl Season 3 is finally out, and my question is, what exactly do you want me to do about it? I mean, there's only like 4 active players on the island, and one of them isn't even in the country. I know that for a fact for the simple reason I was the one who drove him to the airport. I've only been to one demo, and I feel like the experience was too short to truly enjoy the game. So, why don't we check it out? But before we do, please like, share, subscribe. Do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And here we go. Okay, so how I discovered Blood Bowl is that one of the Sith players thought I might enjoy Blood Bowl because I played football. Again, the experience was too short and I demoed the game without knowing anything about its lore or history. But it did remind me why I have a hyperextended neck, recurring tendinitis, a minor concussion, and missing cartilage on both knees. I honestly can tell the weather now. I can tell when it's going to rain because my knee starts to hurt. Anyways, what is Blood Bowl? Why don't we go and check it out?
Hi, I'm Arthur.
Hello.
And I know this is not 40k, but I want you to
definitely
set
not.
aside all your differences and please acknowledge something for me. When I say the words fantasy football, what do you think of? An online draft of your best possible team doing whatever they do to get points? Wrong. You think of an orc tackling a half in football padding so hard he explodes into gory chunks before remembering he's playing a ball game and runs to score a touchdown as orc cheerleaders so foul that to look upon them directly would cause you to seize up in terror for
That's how they usually describe something that has been tainted by chaos in the audiobooks that I have been listening to for the past few months. It hurts to look upon them.
at least a few minutes, do a dance that would make Jesus cry. Yeah, fuck you, it's Blood Bowl
Something that would make Jesus cry. Yeah, we're definitely using that from now on.
time. Blood Bowl fucks so goddamn hard, and you cannot tell me otherwise. I know a lot of people tell me 40k is too hyper-masculine for me to be interested in it. Yeah? Well, have you considered that
I mean, I don't think so. I think 40k is for everyone. I mean, that's one of the best things about this game. I mean, you will run into gatekeepers for some reason because I ran into them, gatekeepers, because apparently knowing this or playing this, they believe that knowing this or playing this has led them to believe that it makes them special. So that's why they gatekeep. Guys, playing this game or knowing this game does not make you special, all right? It doesn't make anyone special. I say we welcome them with open arms. Now, whether or not there's female Astartes, that's a completely different story. And the thing is, I haven't been with the community long enough for me to actually provide a valid or an educated opinion as to why or why not it should be there. And anyways, I mean, I've always wondered why they tried to force it in. They've already had the Adeptus Sororitas, the Blanks, the Sisters of Silence. Anyways.
you should also add American Gridiron Football? It doesn't solve the problem, but it makes it so that just buying a box of Black Orcs gives you a fucking test boost. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of censor bleeps in this video because Blood Bowl kicks ass and is my favorite setting in the
guys, just to let you know, right, doing miniatures isn't exactly considered as testosterone inducing, alright?
Warhammer universes. Do I know a lot of its lore? No, but I don't have
Me
to.
neither.
Sometimes you just look at something and go, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of why Blood Bowl is beautiful. And I want to give a video dissecting its origins and a few of the most recognizable teams and maybe inspire a few of you folks to go out and grab the game. As if you're looking for more of the sauce that's in Space Marine 2, the passion that was used to make that game
does it also have the legend system just like in 40k or in Kill Team where you have teams or units that actually expire? Can someone please put it down in the comments? I mean, to be honest, I have been beating around the bush with regards to anything related to GW or Warhammer for the simple reason that it's an investment, right? I consider miniatures to be an investment. But the thing is, I wouldn't consider something. I mean, if you're going to invest in something that has an expiration date, I don't believe that the whole thing's a good investment. But you know what? One of these days, I'm just gonna have to. I believe that I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet on this one.
Is in a lot of the digital Blood Bowl games, like Blood Bowl 2 and Blood Bowl 3. So
Yeah.
give them a shot, because they're really fun, and if you really like it, pick up one of the physical teams and maybe go visit a Games Workshop or your hobby shop and make some friends.
Because
but
why
regardless, where did the Blood Bowl start?
Yep.
A long time ago, in the world of Warhammer Fantasy, an army of dwarves and an army of orcs were battling it out for survival atop an ancient mountain before
Okay.
finding a mystical cave.
So this is fantasy, all right?
In said cave was a passageway leading to an ancient underground arena with various squares to denote placement. There were stands covered in dusts in the back of the cave, but more curious was the bizarre armor that was strewn about the arena, and it looked like there was armor for every single race imaginable. But it wasn't armor for combat, it was armor seemingly built for shock absorption. A dust-covered leather ball lay next to an ancient rule book that showed how to conduct an ancient religious rite in the name of an equally ancient god, Nuffle. What is Nuffle?
So it's a tribute to a god named Nuffle. Okay.
The god of Blood Bowl.
Blood
A dwarf ended up being the one to translate the text to everyone, and because of this, he was sort of the de facto rules guy to go to from now on, at least until he died, as even though he's long lived, dwarves do die at some point. Something compelled those dwarves and orcs to play this game as a means to settle their differences, and for some reason, it worked. And thus, the first game of Blood Bowl in thousands of years has been
They've got gremlins acting as medics. I don't think that's a good idea.
played, launching weirdly into a golden age of peace and prosperity between all fantasy races in the world of Warhammer, as instead of waging wars, they simply played games of Blood Bowl to settle issues between cities, with tournaments to show supremacy, as well as having generous prizes. All races had representatives, and all cities for each races had representatives as well, which is beautiful. From humans to hobgoblins, there is multiple teams out there, and honestly, I just love this setting so goddamn much. The rules of the game have
Alright, so instead of fighting it out in the battlefield, you play it out on the pitch. Yes, I paused it here on purpose because I know for a fact there is such a thing as LFL, Lingerie Football League, where you have female players playing football. Shut up. Playing football in lingerie. Is this a thing? Is this a thing? In Blood Bowl, where you have female players playing in lingerie? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
taken on many different iterations over the years, with various rules councils and the NAF, which is, okay, well, the main governing body over the Blood Bowl rule sets, as well as the others' teams and statistics. Basically the chief organizers to make sure games actually happen. But the main set of rules is...
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me just Google the NAF. Blood Bowl NAF. Blood Bowl NAF. Oh my god, it's the Nuffle America. No. The Nuffle Amorical Football International. Oh, Association of Players dedicated to Blood Bowl. Oh my god. Alright. I'm definitely gonna have something to read up on tonight. Anyways, let's keep on going.
11 players per team can be on the pitch at any given time. No more, but you can have less, as we'll cover now. because death on the Blood Bowl pitch is quite common, you'll come to find. As
Okay.
even though the rules of Blood Bowl are simple, where if you get the ball from your side of the field to your opponent's end zone, you get a point, or opposite-wise, if your opponent gets the ball to your end zone, they score a point. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. There is a few alternate win conditions, such as if every single player on your opponent's team is dead, you win, because they're disqualified for not having
Every single one, not just, going below 11. So, are there substitutions? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
enough players to play the game. Though intentionally attempting to kill your opponents isn't necessarily legal, it doesn't mean people won't cheat, because punishments are not necessarily that harsh, to be completely honest. So
I think I saw a unit once, biased referees or something.
there are times when a team of orcs will forget they are even playing a game and slip on some brass knuckles or hoist in a few chappas from time to time just to get the job done. Let's not forget about the Skaven teams, which are known to, in the process of hiring skilled athletes, also hire skilled assassins, because if you die before the game starts, it means you can't play the game, and thus
Definitely
your team
on
is likely
brand.
going to be fed to Glark at the end of it because of how shittily they're going to be playing. Blood Bowl is a simple game with relatively limitless ways of playing, even the lovely Dungeon Bowl, which is...
Ooh.
Okay, I'll be honest, I don't even know how to play.
Alright, so we have a different variation. I believe there are indoor football leagues. I'm guessing that this is their version of an indoor football leagues, because your throwing is limited, and I'm guessing a smaller pitch or a smaller arena. So it's like a CQB arena, being that it's going to be smaller. I mean, do I have it right? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
Dungeon Bowl, but hey, it looks cool. These are but the basics, as there are a bunch more things to cover, but they don't matter too much, as there are leagues, tournaments, the various different interpolitical things, and the brands, as there are many different brands. And how could I forget our lovely hosts, Bob Bifford and Jim Johnson, as you're gonna see them a lot, as they're pretty much iconic to the game. Love them too. So with all the basics out of the way, let's talk about a few teams.
So I'm guessing they're like Jim Ross and Robbie the King Lawler for WWE. You have iconic announcers. That's so awesome.
I'm not going to cover all of the teams, but I will cover the basic ones you need to know to understand the gist of the game itself. If you want to know more, just let me know in the comments. Maybe if this picks up, I'll do a video covering all the teams in the game. So before we get lost in the weeds further, let's cover the basics with...
Let's go!
The Reichland Reavers. The most recognizable of the human teams, the Reichland Reavers have a long and storied career of housing some of, if not the most talented players in the many leagues of the NAF. From humble beginnings, the original name for the Reichland Reavers was the Altdorf Acolytes, which ended up getting changed the second they started to pick up some praise from around the circuit. The Reavers are kind of the poster child of the game for the human side of things, though in the most recent edition it was the nobles of the setting, but I digress. There isn't much to know about the Reavers, other than if you want to be okay at everything, but have nothing really great. Human teams in general are just the best for that. They do have good offense, good defense, good mobility, and also they have access to ogres, which is kind of awesome because sometimes you just want to fuck slam an orc into
Fuck slam an orc. Alright, we're definitely gonna be using that from now on to fuck slam.
a wall so hard he pops into green chunks. The Elfheim Eagles.
They look like an 80s glam rock band.
The mainstay elf team of Blood Bowl, the Elfheim Eagles are really good at a lot of things, but the fun secret about them is that they're...
Alright, I think I'm beginning to get the gist of it, that they're not race specific, but there are specific teams, just like, there are like within the human factions, there are like, or within the human vampire, whatever, fantasy factions, there are like individual factions or sub-factions. So here, the human faction has like can field like several teams, I guess, per city, just like, the NFL, the NBA.
actually a combination of two teams. See, once upon a time, the original creation of this category of teams called Elven Union was when two failing elven teams of dark elves and wood elves decided to combine together to save money. And thus, the Elfheim Eagles and every other Elven Union team was created. Basically, they can maximize the best both sides can do, but they're still elves, so they do elf things. As far as the Eagles go, they are faster than most teams and more agile, able to catch and throw far better than most other teams, though they do lack a lot in terms of offense and especially durability. They have the bones of birds, hollow and very, very fragile. They're about on par with humans in terms of actually offensive capabilities, but they do lack the ability to call out an ogre. So there is that. Just in general, don't make them fight head-on against orcs, or else you're gonna be meeting up with a bunch of meaty crunches and the orcs walking home with a prize. The Gouged Eye.
Gouged eye.
The quintessential orc.
This video is, I think, about a year, 2 years old. Sorry, I'm honestly looking up the themes right now. The Amazons, Black Orcs, Chaos Chosen, the Goblins, Imperial Nobility. That is something. Wow, they look good. They look good. You've got Corn, Necromantic Horror, Ogres, Old World Alliance, Snotlings, Tomb Kings, Wood Elves, the Chaos Renegades, Dark Elves. The Nobles look good. And of course, the Elven Union. We have it here. We have the humans. Okay. Alright. Okay, got it. Hardy Roach. Anyways, let's keep on going.
Team, the Gouged Eye, are one of the goofier teams in terms of their origin. They were a mostly feral tribe of orcs that lived in the mountains, and after conducting enough raids and kidnappings, they found out about Blood Bowl secondhand. Thinking the whole ordeal sounded pretty fun, they ended up kidnapping a coach to teach them how to play the game. Unfortunately, the person they kidnapped wasn't actually a coach and barely knew how to play the game. He taught them how to rush to the end zone with the ball to get a point, but he never taught them really anything else, which is why
that's actually a very valid strategy. Just run the ball. You need a good O-line, and then you need a good running back. And you can win championships that way.
If you look at their win-loss ratio, it was 1 win to 75 losses of their first 76 games. It was
not bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. They just were never taught how to pass the ball, catch the ball, or even throw the ball, to be honest. And the funny part is, the only reason why they won that one game is because they were going up against a halfling team that they smushed into a fine paste. Once they ended up finally kidnapping a different coach that was actually a decent coach, they learned how to pass the ball and become quite the championship team, if I do say so myself. With access to trolls, goblins, and orcs of all kinds, you will likely have some pretty high-end guys who are super resilient and strong and deal a lot of damage, but they cost a lot to put in your team, so to balance that out, you're going to also have some low-end guys.
I wonder if they've also learned how to call audibles.
Like goblins to pad things out. Them dudes are kind of fragile, but regular orcs and even black orcs are significantly stronger. Though the biggest weakness of an orc team in general is that they're a bit slow and they are very clumsy. But if you're gonna play Blood Bowl with orcs, you're probably not gonna actually be playing the game. You're probably gonna be playing it more like it's, well, a traditional game of Warhammer. The Dwarf Giants. The mainstay dwarf team of Blood Bowl, the Dwarf Giants, had an overly complicated name in the beginning.
I believe that's an oxymoron to begin with.
Starting off as the Illuminated Seers of the Sacred
Quite a mouthful.
Orb. Jesus. The newly rebranded and reignited Dwarf Giants went under a new coach that was actually one of their star players beforehand, which is Varric Varricson, which is a really stupid and funny name. Because of this new leadership, they immediately won a championship title and were set to be a powerhouse in the community. But tragedy struck when an orc warband decided to invade their home country, and they had to band together for a war that lasted well over 30 years.
Wait, I thought they settled wars now over through football. How come there's still a war going on?
In the process, losing almost all of the old members and poor old Varric, the team was eventually reformed, and using the lessons taught to the remaining members and a bunch of new successful players and coaches, they went back on the scene and started to destroy the competition. Good on them. If you play a dwarf team, you will not move very well. You might not throw very far, but you will catch pretty decently, and you are really hard to crack. Like a stone, you move up in a wall and tackle the living shit out of your enemy, able to endure more or less any punishment any other team could dish out. They are probably my top 5 teams of all time in terms of favoritism, but they're nowhere near as close to the top as Chaos Dwarves.
Of course.
The Skaven Blight Scramblers. The rattiest rat team that ever ratted, the Skaven Blight Scramblers were picked out to be the best of the best of the best of the rat mankind. See, the Skaven as a race had their own Blood Bowl league for a while because they were banned from the NAF, and this league was called the Warpstone Bowl. And from this bowl, one team rose to the top of the rankings in as dramatic a fashion as ratly possible. The Skaven Blight Scramblers. They were such a good Skaven team that the NAF had to start admitting the Skaven to traditional games of Blood Bowl in order to stave off criticisms of Ratman-based prejudice, which, okay, I will say prejudice against Skaven is impossible.
That sounds wrong. It's like, how could you hold prejudice against a cockroach or something? No.
As it's not even really prejudice, it's more just common fucking intelligence. As when Skaven teams were actually admitted.
It's just plain common sense. You can't hold the prejudice against something that is made to be deplorable.
The reports of cheating in matches increased by well over 400% because, well, that's what Skaven do. They are fast without being agile. They are weak in offense and defense, but they cheat like you wouldn't believe, and that's how they win games. You have guys with poison knives that have rules that only affect other players when the game is done. Like, you get a roll to see if they died of warpstone-related cancer after being stabbed by a Skaven assassin, and honestly, I wouldn't have it be any other way. The Skaven Blight Scramblers are a perfect team if you want to play a bunch of pretty weak guys, but also want to make your opponent so red in the face that he can't think straight.
I mean, that's their thing, right? They're meant to be the bad guys.
Right afterwards. The Guacamole Crater Gators.
Guacamole Crater Gators. They're really leaning on to the whole South American thing. Guacamole.
I'm just gonna let you know this now. If you play the Lizardmen teams, you are in such a weird spot. Because if you haven't noticed from any other settings for Warhammer, the Lizardman, their naming conventions are usually just puns, and I hate it. And that's because I'm the type of person you tell puns to, because I groan and show pain. I mean, for the love of God, their name is the Guacamole Crater Gators. Their head coach, his name is actually just Totalitarian, which is unfortunate now that I think about it. But there are others like that.
Alright, it's a pun, downright fun. He's right.
You will notice, but the history of the Lizardmen in Blood Bowl in terms of this team is actually long-standing and very complicated, as they originate so far back in the past that we're down to the single digits when regarding the year. So the game takes place in around like the year 2500. This team was founded in the year 31. So it's a long-standing team with a very relevant and important history, but how good are they on the pitch? Pretty good, actually. They have a lot of benefits, the biggest one being that the Lizardmen have a weird team structure, where they, unlike other teams that have specialties, the Lizardmen have every specialty divided up into their team. So like, you want fast moving and agile, you use skinks, but they are made of paper and will basically disintegrate if an orc so much as
So they have subunit specializations. You want fast, you want tanks. Okay,
pieces
got
near
it.
them. You want a very tough and resilient blocker who's pretty good at squaring up but not too good at damage. You get the Saurus. The Saurus are great, but they aren't
Alright.
fast and they're very clumsy, so catching and throwing balls is not really their thing. You just want to murder people? The Croxagore is always a fun option. That is just a 12-foot upright walking alligator.
Because why
Regardless, because they have all these beneficial pieces, your team comp is really going to play a big part in you winning or losing. They are
Okay.
fun, though, because of it.
So, you can't have it all just like in any other system. Unit cost will definitely come into play. And you can't have the best of everything. You can't have it all.
The Fire Mountain Gutbusters.
Ah.
These guys are just really funny. They're a team of ogres, where in
course they
lore
are.
stated they are kind of bad at the game of Blood Bowl, but no one likes going up against them because people end up getting eaten in the process. With a long-standing history of
course.
losing games but causing havoc, things came to a head when, after a multi-year losing streak, the Gutbusters lost to a goblin team of all things. The Sneaky Beakers is what they were
Ah.
called. In order to mourn the loss of their career and their status, they actually decided to just eat their head coach, which they did, and their tactics actually
Because why not? Stick to the brand. It's all about sticking to the brand.
started to improve afterwards because they ended up getting a new coach who was actually pretty good at inventing tactics to help them with their very specific style of play, which is... Well, okay, let's be honest here. If you play ogres as a team, you're not going to be playing Blood Bowl. You're actually going to be playing the game of how many of my opponent's players can I kill as quick as possible so that they literally could not stop me from walking the ball up the pitch as slow as possible to the end.
Alright, okay, I got it now. So they're goons or enforcers, alright? They're not there to play Blood Bowl or they're not there to play the game. Their job is to make sure that the other team can't play the game. Okay, got it. Sounds like fun.
Zone. The benefits of this team is you have 4 ogres on your side, which do not catch, they barely throw, and they don't move that much either, but they hit like a truck. And also, there's a gimmick where you can
Alright, so basically just run them downhill. Form up a line and run them downhill. Is that how it works? Can someone please put it down in the comments?
pick up the Noblars on your team, which are basically just big-nosed goblins, and throw them as hard as you can. Now, this is a great strategy because the Noblars are actually pretty agile and can catch things as well as humans do. And when you throw them, if they have the ball, they can land and then keep running afterwards. But, like, you can also just pick up a Noblar that doesn't have the ball and throw him at an enemy player, and hopefully it'll kill both of them at the same time. God, ogres are so bad, but they're so
Why hopefully that you kill both?
fun.
Oh.
The Doom Lords. So even in Blood Bowl, the touch of chaos extends its meaty tendrils onto the pitch.
Oh,
there
okay.
are teams.
Human tainted by chaos.
There are teams for each god, but I'm gonna focus only on the undivided one. And if people want it, I'll grab the rest and make a compilation video of all the teams. But regardless, the Doom Lords are a team with a comedic win record of 19-2, because when they were competing in the beginning, instead of playing in traditional games, they actually entered an all-halfling game and, well, won, with several dozen casualties under their belt, which is really funny because basically they just massacred about 15 teams worth of halflings. And to be honest, it's all fair in Blood Bowl, right? The Doom Lords aren't all just a padded record, though. They actually went on to win the Chaos Cup.
They massacred 15 teams. I mean, okay. Hopefully they could replenish their population fast.
Which is kind of a big deal. Other than that, what you should know is if you play the Doom Lords or even just a Chaos team in general, is you're basically humans, but ultra aggressive. All of your tactics are based around murdering the living hell out of everything on the other team. But you also are a bit quicker about it than ogres. Sometimes they even remember they are playing a sport ball game and actually get the ball to the other side. But other than that, it's more like it's just combat practice for aspiring Chaos champions.
Alright.
The Champions of Death.
The undead
These
then.
fellas are fun, as they are basically just a team of unpaid laborers who were raised from the dead by a sports-obsessed
Oh.
necromancer who wanted to make a good team of Blood Bowl players by stealing them from old dead players. To the point
wait.
where
Won't that devolve into open conflict? I mean, if you're going to raise dead players, people are definitely going to start complaining, especially their families. Huh.
the team owner got in trouble for it, I should note, because after games in which he killed opposing team members, he would sneak in after the funeral, raise said member, and bring them onto his team, which weirdly enough created a precedent that if you want to be a part of a Blood Bowl team now, you need to sign a contract that in the event of your death, you are still only allowed to work with your own team, so to prevent necromancers from stealing them after games. The big thing about
I'm glad they addressed that quandary.
Teams is the cost is cheap, and dead players tend to come back a lot easier. So your zombies...
Okay, so small unit costs. So definite. Does this mean more units on the field? Comments, please.
Will rise up even if they die mid-game, and even if they stay dead. If you're doing a league with your friends, you can keep buying more zombies for cheap, as more or less the cost of nothing. Though, your more expensive pieces are going to be kind of hard to replace if they do die.
Forest?
The greenfield grasshuggers. Okay, listen. If you play halflings, you're not going to win, but you're going to have a fun story to tell.
So we have our hobbits.
Everyone after. I'm not kidding. There is very little benefits in playing halfling teams other than they are really funny. They say it on every trailer for them and even on the back of the box. You're not going to win, but you're gonna...
I mean, completely understandable. Not everyone there's, not everyone's there for the win. Some of them are just there to have fun. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people play sports, that, they're not really there for the trophy or the medal. Maybe they just find the whole thing fun.
Have fun. Brittle, slow, clumsy, and could barely hold the ball. The Greenfield Grass Huggers are the best team to ever be introduced from the halflings in the history of Blood Bowl. And their most important contribution to the history of the sport is...
this whole thing is completely valid. You're just there to have fun. You're not there for the medals. I mean, because who needs the pressure of winning? Because if you play tabletop or any sport, you will run into guys who simply can't let it go, that they just have to win. I mean, I know one guy who can't even let players who are in for a demo, who can't even let those guys win, simply because his ego can't take it.
That they are responsible.
I mean, who needs that pressure?
You can only have
this is completely valid, and you know what? I might just get them first for the hell of it.
That number of reserves for your players, because they went up against a Norska team who kept killing every halfling they saw instead of playing the game. And after the 700th or so substitute, the ref had to be called to make a judgment about this entire situation. That you should just stop bringing players out at a certain amount of corpses. Other than...
Alright, so they punished the halfling team instead of punishing the Norska team. Instead of telling the killers to stop killing, they simply told the victims to stop bringing in more victims, okay? So there's definitely victim blaming involved here.
Well, the halflings are bad. Sure, they can have 2 tree men who hit like a truck and are pretty tough, but if you're playing to win, you're not gonna have a great time with the halflings. But if you're just playing,
you're just there to have a great time, period, and the winning may not be a part of it
because you want to have fun. These meatball men are one of the funniest you can bring to a table. And that was Blood Bowl plus all the major teams you should probably know about. Was that all the teams? No. Was that even close? Close by half, I'd say. We didn't even talk about the gnomes.
Oh, gnomes. Definitely good enough.
But regardless, I'm such a fan of this game. It's such a fun, casual experience to play, and I think more people should try it.
Yeah.
It's probably the cheapest game to get into as far as GW products go, as once you have the team, that's kind of it. As long as you have a game board, you can pretty much
I've been
play.
hearing about this game. I've been talking to the players, and they told me that I'm guessing this is the reason why GW isn't exactly that motivated to keep it going because it's cheap and it's a good time, whereas their main purpose is to basically make money, so it wouldn't be a good investment for them to keep the whole thing going. But due to popular demand, they just have to keep at it.
Whenever. You could get the extra pieces,
Looks like
like
fun,
extra
though.
tree men, extra players, and so on, but that's really only small shit, and once you have those, you don't really have anything else you need to add. What do you all think about Blood Bowl? What's your favorite team? And also, do you have any funny halfling stories? I need to know. So
wish
let me
we had
know in the
more
comments, as
Then maybe again, it's up to us to increase the player base here in the country.
well as remember to like and subscribe as it helps the
Yes,
channel.
guys.
Special thanks to my channel
Like, share, and
members
subscribe,
for
you
supporting me,
guys.
because with your help
Help
I
us out
can
with the
support
algo.
myself, pay my editors, and do this content full time, as well as full time prep for whatever 100k event that I'm trying to put together
Yeah.
last minute. So if you want to support me, as well as gain access to additional and early content, then become a channel member today. Thanks once again for watching.
Don't forget to
Use
check
code
them out, you
BONEZONE
guys.
for 10% off GamerSups. And before I go, I just want to say, well, till you find out there is a weaker team than the halflings?
Yeah.
The snotlings. Look
Ooh,
at that.
interesting.
Holy shit. That is embarrassing.
Bye!